Another YouTube video I think you'll appreciate about the so-called wired and dangerous.
Back then, yeah.
Those were simpler times, I think. I just feel like we may be going back to that, by the way. But in a way, good, because when I read things like the foundations of capitalism are shattering, I'm like, maybe we need that. Maybe we need some time where we're walking around with a donkey with pots clanging on the sides.
You think that would just bring us back to reality?
Yeah, because everything is amazing right now, and nobody's happy. Like, in my lifetime, the changes in the world have been incredible. When I was a kid, we had a rotary phone. We had a phone that you had to stand next to, and you had to dial it.
Yes.
You realize how primitive? You're making sparks in a phone, and you actually would hate people with zeros in their numbers because it was more. It's like, oh, this guy's got 2 zeros. Screw that guy. Why do I want to? And then if they called and you weren't home, the phone would just ring lonely by itself. And then if you wanted money, you had to go in the bank for when it was open for like 3 hours. You had to stay in line, write yourself a check like an idiot. And then when you ran out of money, you just go, well, I can't do any more things now.
Right.
I can't do any more things.
That's it, yeah.
That was it. And even if you had a credit card, the guy would go, ugh, and he'd bring out this whole shunk, and he'd write, he'd have to call the president to see if you had any money. And
it's all true, kids. You had to call the president, yeah. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
Do you feel that we now, in the 21st century, we take technology for granted?
Well, yeah, because now we live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots that don't care, because this is what people are like now. They got their phone, and they're like, ugh. It won't. Give it a second. It's going to space. Can you give it a second to get back from space? Is the speed of light too slow for you? Yeah. I was on an airplane, and there was internet, high-speed internet on the airplane. That's the newest thing that I know exists. And I'm sitting on the plane, and they go, open up your laptop. You can go on the internet. And it's fast, and I'm watching YouTube clips. I'm in an airplane. And then it breaks down, and they apologize. The internet's not working. The guy next to me goes, this is bull. Like how quickly the world owes him something he knew existed only 10 seconds ago.
Right.
And on planes,
We can all relate to this video, as we're each guilty of impatiently cursing our phones or our laptops as we've tried to get connected. And it's easy to laugh off the people Louis C.K. is railing against in his commentary with Conan. But here's the wake-up call. Today's consumer is edgy and so socially connected to the internet in order to gain insight into a product or a service or a real estate listing that they've rendered many of us providers unnecessary. We used to be the gatekeepers of all that information, and that's no longer the case. At their worst, today's consumer can do great harm to the reputation of those products or those providers if they don't deliver. We thought the following was the single most important, and as professionals serving wealthy clientele, potentially the most alarming piece of research the Harrison Group uncovered in their study. Customers have stopped listening to us. Confidence in salespeople has fallen. Nearly 9 in 10 affluent consumers feel they can get to the facts faster via the internet than if they turn to company representatives. Plus, consumers have become increasingly disappointed with salespeople's lack of knowledge and the often less than stellar customer service. Real estate brokerage has survived this trend better than most purveyors of luxury items, partly because there's too much at stake with the purchase or sale of a home for consumers to go it alone. It's both an infrequent transaction and a highly complex one. The cost of failure is huge relative to the cost of failure in buying a book or a plane ticket or a hotel room. Consumers still see their real estate professional as a consultant to help them through the sales process and to avoid making big mistakes. That said, though, it's a fragile truce. Real estate brokers need to be able to address the luxury consumer's research capabilities by bringing more knowledge and insight to the table than the consumer can find on his own via a quick Zillow search. And not only do brokers have to demonstrate authority with the complexities of their business, They have to do it fast and intelligently and at the level of technology their clients are using. Consumers are way, way beyond our black and white printouts of MLS details, or are parroting a few basic stats about the market that they've already thoroughly analyzed and likely chatted about with friends online and perhaps understand better than we do. Well, I think there are some very fine real estate brokers in this town, many of whom are in this room. I also believe there are some in our profession who have not grasped this and who need to wake up. There are some black and brown cows amongst us who are thinking the parched meadows will be greening up soon, and that they, along with their sellers, will be going back to mighty fine pastures and peaceful grazing and business as usual. I believe there's a word of caution here for brokers and for really anybody in business in this valley. If you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevancy even less. Although a return to normalcy has happened at the end of every down real estate cycle we've experienced over the last 25 years, we think we're coming out of this recession in a different place, and that will not be going back to business as usual. This is a reset. Consider this. Currently, there are approximately 660 brokers who belong to the Aspen Board of Realtors. In 2010, there were about 300 transactions done in the Upper Valley, not counting fractional ones, 300 transactions done, down 60% from a high of 750 in 2006. 225 of those transactions were co-op sales, meaning a different brokerage office sold the property than the brokerage office which listed it. 80% of the 300 sales transactions last year were done, no surprise, by 20% of the brokers, or 125. And remember, that's 125 out of approximately 660. Nearly 400 members have not made a sale in a year's time. 350 haven't made a sale in 2 years' time. Obviously, an awful lot of brokers haven't been making much of a living, or indeed any living, off of real estate these last few years. And although we only have anecdotal evidence of this, we assume that businesses related to the real estate industry, like architecture and design and construction and the like, have also been similarly impacted. Not having had to be on their game much, some professionals have gotten a little out of touch and perhaps haven't noticed what's going on with their customers and how much technology has changed how they're doing business today. When the market begins to recover and pick up pace, we predict the professionals, not just real estate brokers, but all of us who are in the business of dealing with the affluent, who are not ahead of the curve in terms of the internet, social media, and all its technological tools and ramifications, and who are not deeply knowledgeable about their product, are likely to be among the salespeople who are considered pretty much irrelevant by the consumer at worst, or at best, a necessary annoyance just to get a deal done. It's really time for all of us in business here that serve the high net worth customer, or any customer for that matter, to just be better, to just plain be better at what we do if we want to keep or certainly to grow our tourism industry in this valley. If we ever doubted it before or thought we could manipulate them, and whether we're in the real estate business or some other profession whose clientele is affluent, consumers are now king. And it shows up not only in what I was just talking about, how quickly they can access information online, but also in the service they expect. As a result of what they've seen on the internet, consumers have more choices and more smarts than they've ever had. And this is my last point this afternoon. Our customers have experienced really, really great service from providers online and otherwise who have raised the bar. Companies like Disney and Amazon and Zappos and FedEx. Consumers now expect the same standards from all of us. Having experienced extraordinary service from a handful of providers, customers are not only more empowered and emboldened to throw old loyalties out the window and walk if they're not treated with care and intelligence, they're likely to talk about it all online. They have built huge networks of connections that have fostered a sense of community and conversation and commerce, and we'd better be paying attention. And here's a little interesting tidbit. Did you know that 75% of online shoppers read customer reviews of products before making a purchase decision? Just like reviews of books on Amazon or hotels on TripAdvisor, and speaking from my own industry, it's only a matter of time before we see unsolicited, unpaid online reviews, not only of agents, but of our listings. So let me quickly summarize before I turn the microphone over to Andrew. The affluent and wealthy customers we see here are interested in doing business with us and can be defined in the following ways. Number one, their resourcefulness. The internet is their friend, and we are no longer the gatekeepers to information they need to make decisions. Number two, their commitment to finding real value in the marketplace. Only the remarkable need apply for their attention. And number three, their desire to engage with a demonstrated authority on the luxury they're considering purchasing, whether it's a week vacation, an antique watch, an Edward Curtis photograph, or $1 million condominium you're selling. Passionately know your product at a level of expertise that is simply astonishing. And again, taking a few cues from the Wired and Dangerous, and whether you're a real estate broker or any other professional doing business in the Roaring Fork Valley, let's remember this about how to take care of our customers. Loyalty is tenuous. Take good care of them. Time is as important as their money, maybe even more so respond quickly and intelligently. They have extremely high expectations of service and product quality. You best be the purple cow in your business or consider yourself invisible. And life is complex and fast and can be painful, even lonely. So make working with you simple and joyful and entertaining and meaningful. You know, today our customers are tough. They don't have time to be bored or browbeaten by anything traditional or old-fashioned. In the words of the chief creative officer of one of the world's largest ad agencies, we need to stop interrupting, stop getting in the way of what people are interested in, and just be what people are interested in. Be better. So, go forth, be a purple cow, be remarkable, and in the words of Steve Martin, be so good they can't ignore you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you now to my colleague, Andrew Erneman, who is a broker in our Aspen office and whose Stanford master's analysis of all the massive amount of sales data we have access to now, I think you'll find immensely interesting. He's distilled it down to some macro trends that impact real estate investment and decision-making all over the country, and then pulled out of our own local market numbers some highlights that will help you understand what's really going on in Aspen, Snowmass, and Basalt. Andrew?